Okay, so in this video, we are going to talk about how you can work with the survey points which you have collected in the field. So for this case, I'm assuming maybe you're using a total station or you are using maybe something like GNSS receiver to collect your data in the field. So when you download this data, it will come in a format like this. So right now I'm just using a small data around 7 points for this to be clear, but you can be having many points, 200, 300, and so on. So let's say, for example, we went to the field and then we collected this data. So I'm having 4 boundary data and then some trees. So I just called it cypress because I was being specific, it was cypress trees. So when you look at this data here in Excel, what you realize is the first row here, I'm having the point ID. The second column here, I'm having the eastings, the northings, the elevation of that area, and then the description. So it's important for you to know the format of your data in which you pick, because in some other cases you'll be having someone having the northings and then the eastings and so on. So these formats, they are good because AutoCAD can easily read them. So I'll proceed and now I'll save these as a CSV. So again, you need to make sure that you save as a CSV, comma, delimited. So for me, I'll save mine on the desktop like this. And then now the important part is the save as type here. Okay, so CSV, comma, delimited. And then I'll just proceed to click on save, and then I'm having my data. Okay, so the next thing now is you need to close this data, and for that case you will need to write the format somewhere. So for us, we are having the point ID here, eastings, northings, elevation, and description, and then close it because AutoCAD will not be able to read when it's open. So I'm just proceeding to closing it. So the next thing is I'll open my software. So again, you need to make sure you're on a computer where AutoCAD is loaded. So for my case, I'll just click on the Windows button on my keyboard, and then I'll just write Civil 3D metric here. So metric because you're using this unit of measurement here. So that is meters on this side. So I'll just click on it, and then I'll let it open. Okay, so after my software it has opened, I'm now going to load those points here on the software. So the loading time again depends on your computer processor. Some might be slow, some might be fast. So you need to be patient a little bit. So on AutoCAD here, you are having the Home tab. There are several tabs here all through, but now for our case, for the surveyors, we shall focus on a small bit here. Of course, all these other tools, they can be used in doing other things. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, on the menu, insert, because I'm inserting points from a certain file. And then I'll click on this option here, points from file. So let me click on that. And this pop-up comes up. So I'm having this green arrow here. So the first thing I'll do is I'll click on the green cross here like this. Okay, and then I will now navigate to where my data is. So mine was on desktop, so I'll just go to the desktop. I'll go down a little bit to see my data, and here it is. So I'll select on it like that. Then I'll click on open. Okay, so after I click on open, you realize now that you're having the specify point file format. So remember again, earlier on I said it's important for you to know how your data is arranged. Because again, you can see the preview here. So for our case in this part here, what I'm going to do is I'll just scroll down, then I'll look for my format. So my format was point ID, eastings, northings, elevation, and description. So I'll click on that, and immediately you'll see now this preview here has changed. And then what I'm going to do next is I'll just click on OK, like that. And now my points are loaded on AutoCAD. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to see how these points are. So using this floating menu here, by default it is there on AutoCAD. So I'll click on this, zoom to extend. So this one here, number 3. Okay, so when I zoom at that, I'll be having my points here, the 7 points. And now it will be difficult for you to know which one is which. So for this case, I'm now going specific points. I want to label them to see which point belongs to what. So on this side here, on the tool space here, we are having the points, then point groups here. So I'll come to point groups. So realize there is a small plus button here, this one. So I'll click on it like that, and then I'm having all points here. So I'll select all points, and then I will right click. So it's important for you to be having a mouse here. I'll right click, and then I'll go to properties. Okay, and then on the properties, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to change on the point label style because I want to see the description. So I'll click on this drop down menu here, and then I'll select on description only, and then I'll click on OK. So what you realize now is you can see which points belongs to what. For example, now I'm having the boundaries, then the trees here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to join my boundary, and then I'm going to give some symbols for the trees here. So remember, you are aiming at creating something like a topo map for someone to see how that area is. It's important before starting any project to have a topographical map. So I'll click on my home button here, and then on the draw here, this part here, this is where all the magic happens. So I'm going to choose the polyline here. So this, I'm going to click like that. I'm going to make sure I can snap on the points. So I'm going to turn this snapping on like that. Then I can proceed to drawing my boundary. So I'll click the first point, second point, third point like that. Fourth, and then I'll close it. That's a boundary. Then I'll click on escape. So now already I'm having my boundary here. Okay. The next thing is now I want to show these trees here. So remember again, you might be having buildings inside here. You might be having all the physical and man-made features. Remember that's what a topographical map represents. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I want to have these 3 points which would represent trees. Okay, so what is keenly we are going now to what we are calling the point groups. So remember, all these points are inside this. So I'll create another group for these particular trees along this cypress here. So watch keenly. So I'm going to click on point groups. I'm going to right click on that, and then I'll say new. Why? Because I only want a point group for those trees. So remember, it's labeled cypress. Okay. So the name here, I'm going to say these are trees. Okay. The point style here, so there are several point styles you can choose from. This time I'm going to choose a point style for trees. So this one, I'll click on trees. And then the label style, so for topographical map, for things like trees, I'll not want to write trees, trees, trees on the map. I just want to see that particular symbol. So I'll choose on none in that case. Okay. So after that, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to command the software that now please include only points which are labeled cypress. So it depends on how you label your points so that I can see that. So I'll just go to this tab here, include, and I'll choose this box here. So I'm telling this software include points with raw descriptions matching. So for this case is cypress. There's something else, I'll need to put a star after that. So I'm just telling the software anything that has the name cypress, let it fall under this point group called trees. So this star is really important. Okay. Then the next thing, I'll just click on apply, and then okay, like that. And now you see what has happened. So I can now see there are trees here. I'm having a boundary. So for a topographical map, sometimes you don't need these label styles here. So I can just come to the all points here, the properties. Then I say the point style here. I can just click on none, which is at the top here. Even the point label style here, I can just click on none, like that. Then I can just say okay. So now you realize you're just having a map, you have your boundary here, and then you're having some trees here. So remember, it depends with the data you're having. For this example, I just use some small data, and then now you can proceed to making your topographical map, which we shall do in our video number 2.